Good afternoon. Many of you have heard me speak numerous times. I've been to a number of events down here in Savannah, mainly because this area and this city is going to be a big part of what we're trying to do at Georgia Southern in the coming years. So I make it a point to get down here as much as I can. So I thought what I'd do today is kind of give a little bit of a new twist on things and talk a little bit about, over a year where we've gotten to, or where we're heading in the future, some of the whys and the how comes and the way we do things, and kind of incorporate some of our major accomplishments, like a win over Florida. Any Gator fans in this house? I think that's the first time my neighbor actually came out and greeted me. Since he's a Georgia fan, he was happy as hell to see me last week when I came home. But so I want to talk a little bit about where we're going and what we're doing as a university, because again, as Henry talked about, it's not just about athletics. It's about our university. Anything that we do in athletics is to enhance our university and enhance the exposure that our university gets through athletics. When I arrived at Georgia Southern, we had as many of you in this room know, a very historic tradition in our football program, great baseball programs, a number of other sports that had competed nationally in NCAA events. And our athletic program, and particularly our football program, defined our university. And when we sat down and the president and I began to talk about our goals and where we wanted to go, I asked him a simple question. I said, what do you think athletics should do for a university? It's a pretty simple question. And he kind of looked around the room, and if you guys have met Dr. Keel, and he didn't take very long. He said, win. That's what you should do, win as much as you can. And I said, absolutely, I understand that, but let's think a little bit deeper with that. What is the role, what do you think the function of athletics is for a university? And I said to him, in my opinion, our job is to provide as much exposure to what you're doing and what this university is doing to get us on a national level with the great academics and the great history and the great traditions of our university. He goes, absolutely. I go, well, you've had this great football program, you've had this historic athletic program that has done so well, and people know it, but they know it in Statesboro. They know it a little bit in Savannah. They know it a little bit in Macon. They know it a little bit around the state of Georgia. But outside the state of Georgia, if you haven't been associated with FCS football, you really don't understand the story. You really don't know what's been going on at Georgia Southern. So when you look at it from that context, is our athletic program really serving the university in the way that it needs to be serving? And when he looked at it that way, he said, no, it really isn't. I said, we have got to take our athletic programs and we've got to put them on a greater stage. We've got to put them on a greater stage so that more people pay attention to what we're doing and give an opportunity to sell our university to more people. Now, if you guys understand the world of college football and college athletics, football is the driver. Football drives the boat. That's the reality of what goes on. People understand and define your athletic program by your football program. An example of that is this. Many of my coaches, before I got here, they all competed in Division I. They all were able to go to the NCAA basketball tournament. Our baseball team was able to compete in the NCAA baseball tournament. But every time a coach would go out and recruit, what do you think the first question they would ask him is? Are you Division I? Why? Why were they asking my baseball coach that? Why were they asking my basketball coach that? They were asking them that because our football program was not playing, quote unquote, what the public thought Division I football was. So that was the first example that I showed our president, and the first thing of what I was talking about is why we need to get our football program on a level where everybody will associate it with Division I sports. Had an opportunity to join the Sun Belt, came open, we joined the Sun Belt. We're now in the Sun Belt. We are now competing at quote unquote the BCS, non-BCS, non-AQ conference level Division I. Okay, we're eligible to go to bowl games. Okay, we will be one of the 4 teams our conference will be one of the conferences that will be eligible to compete for the playoff when it starts. We are now on a level where on Thursday night and Tuesday night and Wednesday night, ESPN hosts those games. We can now be a part of those things. Because of that move, our athletic department is now on a national stage, okay, where people can now pay attention to it. How many people watch college football this year? How many people know what happened to Kansas State earlier in the year? Who beat them? Anybody know? North Dakota State. How many national championships has North Dakota State won? Anybody know? They've won 2. back-to-back. They won back-to-back national championships. As soon as that game was over, the quarterback who had played and won both those national championships, who won that Kansas State game, was asked a simple question. What does this win mean for your university? His response was very simple, very interesting. This is the biggest win in the history of our university. The biggest win in the history of our university, and he had just played and won 2 national championships. The level of football, the association with that level, it's tremendous, and it can't be matched. Our win against the Florida Gators has gotten us more national exposure than any national championship that we ever won at our university. And that's not downplaying our national championships, because we would not be here if it wasn't for the people that came before us and won those national championships. We would not have those opportunities. And I'm forever indebted to those people, forever indebted to the former athletes and to Coach Russell, and for everything that happened prior to this point. But the reality of the matter is, that win against Florida did more for our institution than any of those national championships. And that's what I was talking about when I asked that question to the president. That's what an athletic program needs to do for our university. We began to put in play some things to associate along with the exposure, how we're going to get people to understand our university. Everything we do in our athletic department, every single decision we make is about our university first. We talk all the time within the department about serving our institution. Our job is to serve Georgia Southern in a better way. Every one of our student athletes wears on their jersey a patch of the college that they belong to. So when that man or Jared McKinnon or any of our young men or young women score a touchdown or score a basket, they don't only score it for us, they score it for that institution and that particular college they belong to. Okay? We wear it on our jersey every single day. It's important that the College of Business Administration sees the athletes that perform for the College of Business Administration. It's important when they're interviewed after a game, somebody's going to look at that and go, what does that Cobra mean on their jersey? And we're going to get to tell that story. We're going to get to tell that story and explain about how good our College of Business Administration is, how good our nursing school is. Okay, what we're doing right now in our engineering programs, and the fact that we can produce engineers that can not only build something and conceptualize it, they can actually work it on a computer. All 3 of those things. A lot of people can't say that. Okay? That's what an athletic department does. So if you want to know why we made the move, it's simply that. We made the move to move up so that we could better serve our institution. We can better do the things that we need to do for our institution, which is bring them national exposure. Now, we've made the move, we're on a journey. I talk all the time to our fans and our supporters about the journey that we're on. And that journey is a tremendous one, and it has 2 distinctive paths. I tell our fans, I tell our student athletes, I tell our administration this. Okay, there's 2 paths out there. There's a path of leadership, there's a path of participation. We can do nothing different. We don't need to grow, we don't need to get any better, and we can participate in the Sun Belt Conference, and we can participate in Division I athletics. Or we can grow, we can expand, we can challenge people to do more, and we can be leaders. We want to be leaders at Georgia Southern. That's why I'm here today. This city is a big part of us growing and becoming leaders. We need this city to embrace Georgia Southern athletics. Because by embracing Georgia Southern athletics, that opens up a tremendous amount of doors that we haven't even begun to talk about. There's bowl games played in Mobile, Alabama. Is Mobile, Alabama any different than Savannah, Georgia? Why couldn't a bowl game be played here? There's basketball tournaments played all over the state during the weekend of Thanksgiving. Why couldn't it be here? The fact that we're on that stage, the fact that we now have that platform to compete at Division I athletics opens up those doors. It is tremendously important that this city embrace Georgia Southern athletics. I get it. I get it. I understand Georgia, Georgia Tech, I get it. Okay? But Georgia Southern wants to be partnered with Savannah. Georgia Southern wants to be partnered with Jacksonville. Georgia Southern wants to be partnered with Augusta, because those 3 cities, led by this one, is going to take our athletic program and take our university to heights it's never experienced before. But we need y'all's help. We need y'all's help going down that road of leadership, because we don't want to be participants. For those of you that remember your schoolboy days, participants are the last kid picked. They pick him to make the teams even. We want to be leaders. We want to be the first guy picked. And we're going to need your help to do that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Who do you play next year, some of the teams?
We open up next year. We'll play NC State at NC State. We'll play Georgia Tech at Tech and Navy. And a little bit, most of you, everybody in here is business people, so we can talk a little bit about the business side of that. This year, when we went down to Florida, I gladly took that check for $500,000 after the game was over and ran right back to Statesboro and cashed it. No, it didn't bounce. Next year, we're going to make $1.9 million. The fact of the matter is, when you're an FBS school, you can demand a little more when you play a game than you are when you're an FCS school. Now, the Florida thing is kind of a good and a bad thing. It's really good because we won and all that national exposure. It's really bad because a lot of people that wanted to play us before call back, don't want to play us anymore.
Tom, will the Georgia Tech game be the first college football game without a pass?
Might be. Might be. It'll be the quickest game. I know that. It'll go by quick, so you better get there early. Yes, sir.
How do you move up to get the athletes that you need to compete against Georgia, Florida?
Well, when you look at successful programs in terms of recruiting, you look across the country and the places that can do it year in and year out, I think they have 3 things. 1, have great history, great tradition. Okay, 2, they have great facilities. And 3, they got great institutions that they're able to sell in terms of academics. So what we started on, when we made our decision that we were going to move up, we embarked on a journey to start our facilities program. And if you go down to Statesboro right now, the Polson Stadium that many of you used to see is not the same Polson Stadium anymore. There's a 60,000 square foot football operations building in what used to be a hill, one end zone. There's a brand new upper deck getting ready to get put in over the student section. There's a commitment to upgrading the press box area. And we're starting here in about another 2 or 3 weeks to sit down with the vice president for facilities and the president, and we're going to do a master plan for all athletic facilities for the next 10 years. So in my opinion, when you take facilities and you show a recruit or a potential student athlete that when they come to school there, they're going to have these finest facilities that we can provide and an opportunity to get a great education, and you start talking about 6 national championships and the great history that we have, I think we got a great product to sell. But we have to make a commitment to our facilities. We have to continue to talk about the growth in our great education that we provide at Georgia Southern.
Black Friday last week, and unfortunately sales on Thanksgiving night. But you know, it was the day of the big sale, and the rumors of the sale and an advertisement in the local paper were the main reasons that a long line formed in front of the store by 8:30. We've all seen those fights, right? That was the store's opening time. A small man pushed his way to the front of the line only to be pushed back amid loud and colorful curses. On the man's second attempt, he was punched square in the jaw and knocked around a bit, then thrown to the end of the line again. As he got up the second time, he said to the person at the end of the line, "That does it. If they hit me one more time, I don't open the store." Hope you all have a great day.